Well, hey there, John Nesbitt with the Customer Factory here, and I'm going to cover a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, which is, as you can tell from the title of the video, how to attain goals. Now, this is not going to be some motivational thing. I'm actually going to give you some like down and dirty, actually, how you attain goals. I'm always setting goals. I'm always dreaming in the future. Sometimes even irritates people that I'm like, we're going to be big, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I have the huge plans, right? And what is actually very gratifying is to sometimes stop and look back and realize, oh, hey, those big plans that I had 5 years ago, I've reached some of those. Not all of them, maybe, but I've reached some of them, right? And it's I've learned a thing or two as of, like almost any entrepreneur, I've studied endlessly different motivational things and different stuff, and I've just sort of accumulated a whole bunch of things which I find work for me. A lot of them come actually out of the management system that we use here at my company. We use the Hubbard management system, which is developed by L. Ron Hubbard. And it's just a system on how you organize groups to be productive and happy and make goals happen. Really, actually, the entire purpose of having a company full of people is to make something happen, some sort of goal to be attained and to help people, right? So if you're interested in making your goals happen, I can kind of give you some pointers. This is not, a huge thing on it, but I want to give you some pointers that I want to share with you on how to do this. Okay, so first of all, I want to put it this way. You as the founder, I'm assuming I'm talking to the person who actually runs the place. It is your job to set the goals. Alone, only you, right? You are the guy who dreams the dream, right? You are the guy who figures it out, and you're the figurehead of your group, whether you're the public face of it or not. If you're the owner, if you're the top guy, if you're the only guy who can't be fired, you're the owner, you're the top guy, and so it's up to you to dream the goals up and to make them big and exciting. Maybe your goal is to maybe you want a $5 million company, or you want to have multiple locations, or you want to, there's some result you want to get to. Now, keep in mind, there are differences in goals between your personal goals and your business goals. Your personal goal might be, I want $1 million, a fast car, and a great house, or whatever, right? Something like that. Your business goals are, well, what do you want to achieve in business? What is your organization going to do? We want to help 1 million people. We want to have 5 locations throughout the state. We want to have $5 million revenue and have 100 staff. Or you have your business goals, right? So you set these as the founder. You set those things, and then everybody else is supposed to orient themselves around making that goal. Your entire management team is supposed to help you make that goal. They say, okay, what do you want to do, boss? You say, let's go to the moon, and then that's where you go, right? You think JFK had a big committee of people deciding we're going to the moon? No, he said, no, I decided we're going to go to the moon. So that became the goal, and a bunch of people organized around that and made it happen. So if you have your own moonshot you want to do, you've got to make the decision first. That takes some courage, by the way, because you sometimes check like, well, what's realistic or what's not realistic? And I'm going to give you where I found the sweet spot is. You need to have the goal big enough, not crazy. I want to be president of the United States with $12 trillion in the, okay, that's not going to happen. But it needs to be a big enough goal that it's exciting enough that when you run across a barrier or a problem towards getting to that goal, it's enough excitement to get you over it. So if your goal is, say you want to have a big company and you want to have this and that, it's got to be exciting enough that when you're getting on the way there, you hit some inevitable problem that you go, well, that's not that big a deal anyway, right? It's got to be exciting. It's got to get you going, right? Another key thing I found is, say you make a 10-year goal. You make a massive goal for 5 or 10 years from now. That can be overwhelming. What I've discovered is if you take that goal and you break it down into smaller and smaller pieces, you say, okay, well, I have a 10-year goal. I want to build a $5 million company or a $10 million company or whatever it is your dream is, right? You say, okay, say it's a $10 million company. We say, okay, and we're a $1 million company now. So you want to grow by 10x over the next decade. All right, that's a nice aggressive growth goal, as we'd say. So, and definitely can be done. Can it be done by you? Of course it can, right? So let's do this. All right, well, so 5 years, we need to be at $5 million. Okay, that means by next year, we need to be at $2 million. We have to double in a year. Okay, well, that means by 6 months from now, we'd be up by 50% over last year, right? You start breaking it down to smaller and smaller pieces till you finally get down to, it doesn't have to be mathematically linear like I just did. It just has to be something more realistic. Say, I want 9 locations. I want 10 locations. Okay, you can't just open 10 locations. You have to open up a second location. Or maybe you have to get your first location doing really smooth and well first, and then open the second location with that as a model, right? You've got to kind of work back to the smallest possible goal you can handle right now. Ultimately, if you get down to a goal that you can do, this it's a sub-goal that leads to your main goal. If you get down to one that can be done like today, this week, you've got it broken down small enough. Because I think what most people do is they put the huge goal out there and they don't put enough steps in the way. So they say, I want to be at the top of the mountain, but there's no stairs going up. So, they can't just jump to the top of the mountain. You've got to have a gradient that gets you there. Now, I'll tell you what, you can climb to any altitude you want, as long as you go up one step at a time, 1 foot at a time. You can do that. And like I said, I'm not doing a motivational thing. This is a practical thing. If you find your goals aren't getting done and they're exciting and you want to do them, it's probably because you're not breaking them down to a small enough level that you can actually accomplish something on it today. You should be able to say, okay, well, today I'm going to make sure I write up how that job is done so that can be done in the future. And amongst all the noise, I'm going to get this one other deal done that'll move us in that one direction. You know, you kind of find your way through the day-to-day battles as you're making your progress towards your goal. And if you got small enough steps, you can actually have a little small step and take the win. And that brings up another point. You're going to have wins on the way there. A win is when you realize you've moved closer to the goal, right? You're going to have losses or losses when you realize, oh, that's a setback. That pushes us back. You got to sort of put those out of your mind. You got to be like, hey, don't worry about that. Just concentrate on collecting up the wins. When you get a loss, they're inevitable. Don't dwell on it. Don't give up on the goal. Just push for more wins, okay? Another one is make sure the goal is your goal and not someone else's goal, because someone else might have said, well, you know, if you really want to be successful, son, you're going to have 10 locations, right? Now you think, oh, my goal should be to have 10 locations. That might have come from somebody else, that 10 locations goal. Make sure it wasn't a colleague or somebody else. Now, it might be a good idea that you latched onto. That's fine. That's your goal. But if someone else gave you a standard, say, well, you're not really successful until you have 3 Teslas and $5 million in your bank account, right? Well, I guarantee you there's a lot of people in the world who consider that 1 Tesla and $1 million in your bank account is successful. So a lot of people think that $100,000 in a bank account and a car that runs is successful. It's a gradient scale of it matters basically what you think. The whole thing is all goals are very personal to me. When you're setting business goals, it's something that you do. It's personal to you because it has to motivate you to get there. Because this is what you're doing with your life. This is not like at the end of your life, these are the goals you'll look back on and say, I made them or didn't make them, and it was worthwhile or not worthwhile. And you want to do something that was worthwhile in your own estimation. That only matters you are the one who has to be happy with the goal, right? Your goal might be, I just want things to be cool and stable. I don't want to be huge. I don't want $1 million. Okay, good. That's your goal. Now, it may not be very exciting. So when something bad happens, you may not be able to recover from that very easily, but you get the idea, right? And so those are I've got a few other things I'll cover. This video is running a little bit long. I didn't want to make this too long. Those are some of the basic things just towards getting to our goal. So write a goal down, break it down to a bunch of smaller steps, and make it small enough that you can do something on it every day or every week, something significant towards the goal, and just keep moving the ball forward, and you will eventually get there. And I've noticed it's kind of like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you get good at doing it. Oh, something I got to definitely tell you. Here's another key I've learned. Be sure to tell everybody in the universe about your goal. Tell them, publish it on we literally have our goals on the wall here at my office, right? Like this is where we're going. We have a big thermometer we have, so we color it in as we reach different income goals for the company, right? So everybody in the company can see how we're doing. That creates a little pressure on you. If your goals are kind of secret, then you kind of can let it go and no one notices, right? But if you come and say, hey, here company, here's our goal for the month, here's our goal for the year, here's our goal for 10 years from now, right? And you tell your spouse, you tell your friends, you tell everybody. That kind of, in a weird way, it creates a little pressure on yourself because you don't want to be the fool who made these huge goals that didn't happen. But it also builds agreement. People go, well, that guy's got big goals. That guy's doing it. And people start to agree with you. And the more they agree with you, the more it gets easier to make those goals actually happen. All right. So I want you to make your goals. And of course, a big part of making your goals, if you want to build a $5 million business or you want to have 12 locations, it's going to take good marketing, right? Can we agree on that? You're going to have to be able to reach out and convince people to come do business with you, right? Marketing. All right, that happens to be what I do here at my company. That's how we make other people's goals come true, is we put a good marketing program together for you that takes you from where you are now to where you want to go. What's your goal in a year? What's your goal in 5 years? We can back that down and tell you those little bitty steps I told you. We actually back it down on a marketing program to what marketing do you have to run today to make sure you're on a trajectory to go all the way to the moon like that, right? If you're interested in hearing more about that and what my program could do, go to thecustomerfactory.net. Thecustomerfactory.net is our website. Just go there, sign up for a service demonstration, and we'll sit down with you and we'll go over exactly what our program could do for you. We'll see where you're at, where you want to go, and when I can give you a plan, I'm pretty sure that'll get almost anybody to almost any goal. We've got a lot of folks who've actually helped build $1 million businesses, $1 million practices, multi-million dollar practices, multi-million dollar practices. So no matter what your goal is, I've seen it most likely, and I've probably helped it make it come true for a few folks, including ourselves. I'm not talking about someone who doesn't know something about making goals. I know what it's like to be in business, and I know that if you trust me with helping you make your goals, that's one of those things that I like most in the world, is helping other people make their goals. So anyway, that's long enough for this. I will talk to you next time around. Thanks.